guys, okay, so before I get started with the first appetizer, I'm going to go ahead and cut up my baguette, and I'm going to put a little bit of butter on it and stick it in the oven so that it gets nice and toasty while we're working on the other appetizers. So I'm going to go ahead and start with that. You could use, you know, whatever you want. If you want to use olive oil, do that. If you want to use unsalted butter and then do your own seasoning, you can do that as well. I personally prefer the Kerrygold, and I buy both, but for this I use the salted butter, and then that's all I put on the baguette. So I'm gonna go ahead and melt some of this so that I can put it on my bread. Then I'll go ahead and get it sliced up and put it in the oven. All right, so I've got my butter. It's almost all melted. I'm just gonna go ahead and move that around, and the rest will melt in there with the heat of the other butter. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this aside for a minute while I slice up the baguette, and then we will get started. Cooper's always around, but let me tell you, he's never not around when I'm in the kitchen. Always hoping to score some crumbs that fall on the floor. See how these pieces are bigger than these. So if you want the bigger pieces, just go at a diagonal. If you want the smaller pieces, just see how I'm cutting at a diagonal. If you want the smaller pieces, just cut straight across the bread. All right, so I'm just gonna set these here on my cookie sheet. So I'm gonna go ahead and move that aside for now. Got my melted butter here. And again, I'm using salted butter, so I'm only doing butter on these, and you can use olive oil if you want, but I'm just gonna go through and brush each one of these with a little bit of butter. And I just realized I didn't preheat the oven, so I'm gonna go ahead and preheat my oven to about 375. And then we're just gonna throw them in there for a few minutes, just until they get nice and brown. I'm guessing somewhere about maybe 7 or 8 minutes. But again, keep an eye on them, because I might like mine cooked a little more than you do. So just keep a close eye on them while they're in there. And then you decide when they're done. Honey, from all the appetizers that we have at Thanksgiving, what's your favorite one? This one? Yeah. Do you prefer this one with the figs and the prosciutto, or do you like the one with the pomegranate seeds and the cranberries?
No, the figs and the prosciutto. My favorite.
This is your favorite appetizer?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And you're my favorite girl.
I hope so.
Yeah.
You're past the return policy. Yep, absolutely.
That's okay. We'll be going back. I like what I have. I like what I have.
Good to hear. So I'm just going to go ahead and let the oven preheat. In the meantime, we will go ahead and get started with the other appetizers. All right, so of the 3 appetizers that we've got today, I've got one with 2 ingredients, one with 4 ingredients, and one with 5 ingredients. They are all very delicious, super easy to make. If you have a Costco near you, you can pick up a package of these Adele's. They're chicken teriyaki meatballs with pineapple, and they are so delicious. And one of my favorite things about them is they're already full of flavor that you really don't need to do much to them. I will toss them in with a jar of sauce. Now, I normally use, I like the Fisher & Weiser brand. I'm honestly not sure if it's available everywhere. It is made about an hour or so away from my house, so I can find these easily in grocery stores around me. But again, I'm not sure if they're available nationwide. If they are, I like to use the Fisher & Weiser The one that I really like to pair this with is the charred pineapple bourbon sauce. And sometimes I have a hard time finding that one. It's kind of a hit or miss at my grocery store. So a substitute that I sometimes use, which I'm doing today, it's a charred peach bourbon sauce. And I have used this one before with these pineapples, and they still pair very nicely together. So again, these are the Adele's teriyaki and pineapple chicken meatballs, and I'm just pairing them with a sauce. Another thing I like about them is that they come in 2 sealed packages. So depending on how many guests you're having, you can decide whether you want to just make one bag or both. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the meatballs. I really do think that taking this extra step makes a big difference in the flavor. So I'm gonna go ahead and sear these. Now on Thanksgiving, I will make both packages, but for today, since it's just my family, I'm just doing 1 pack. And I will use about half the bottle for 1 pack. And I didn't put any spray or oil or butter, anything like that in the pan. I just put them in there. I do have a non-stick pan. I've got a hex quad pan. Love these things. Nothing ever sticks to them. Anyway, but I'm just going to let those sear on each side, and then I will add the sauce, and I'll lower the heat and let that just simmer for a few minutes, and it will be good to go. Just 2 ingredients. That's all you need. All right, so for the most part, these have some nice color on them. So I'm going to go ahead and pour the sauce right over. So yummy. So I'm just making sure that they are all coated in some of the sauce. And I'm just gonna let this sit here. Now when you're making them in a pan, it doesn't take long at all. This will be ready to eat in like, no, 3 or 4 minutes. You just want the sauce to get hot and coat the meatballs. And again, I'm using the peach sauce today, but if you can find the charred pineapple bourbon one, let me tell you, that with the pineapple in the meatballs as well, so good. And I'm actually not a big pineapple fan, not a peach fan either, to be honest with you, but these do taste good. My husband likes both pineapple and peach, so this is right up his alley. So you can see I just took a pretzel stick in it. See if it's not too hot. It's a little warm, so just gonna let it cool off a bit, but I can tell you these are delicious and super simple. Even if you didn't want to serve them with the pretzel sticks, you can just serve them with the toothpicks if you want. But it's 2 ingredients, you know, and they're delicious. I hope that you guys would give these a try. So good. It's good. The saltiness, excuse me, the saltiness from the pretzel actually pairs very nicely with the sweetness from the sauce and the meatballs. So if you like a little bit of contrast, I do recommend the pretzels. Do I have food in my teeth?
Huh? Oh, you're filming right now?
For Thanksgiving, I will more than likely prepare them in a pan first, but then I will just toss them in a crock pot on keep warm and have those ready to go when my guests arrive. So I hope that you guys give these a try if you're looking for something super simple to add to your appetizer list, not just for Thanksgiving, but for any get together. Give it a shot. And if you do try it, let me know what you think in the comments below. you can see here, I just stuck some pretzel sticks in the meatballs. Okay, this next recipe could not be any easier, guys. It has 4 ingredients, and this one is sweet. I do serve it as an appetizer, but I guess you could even put it on your dessert tables. It's kind of like a twist on a caramel apple. So we're gonna start off with a block of cream cheese. And then the next ingredient is one that you will find with your sundae toppings at the grocery store. So you can use any caramel topping you like. I personally really like this Smucker's brand. It is a salted caramel top. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pop this open and pour it right on. You wanna be generous with the caramel because as people start to eat this, ooh, you will see that they always tend to dip into the caramel a little extra. Now, for the topping on this, I'm going to use this. You will find in the baking aisle. It's brittle. It says it's bits of brittle is what it says. Basically, it's toffee brittle. So any kind of toffee you prefer, and I'm just gonna go ahead. Now this part here, I will say if you wanted to do this a little earlier, don't put the toffee on until you're getting ready to serve it, because you want these to stay nice and crispy. And once they sit on the caramel for a while, they do tend to soften up. They're still delicious, but they're just, you don't get that crunch. And you definitely want to have a little bit of crunch with the soft cream cheese, right? I'm all about combining different textures with my food. Now, I mentioned earlier that you can use a crostini with this as well. My daughter actually prefers it with the bread. She'll have it with crostini. I think almost everyone else prefer it with apple slices. So you can just take your apple, of course, wash it first. Get a little bit of apple juice in your eye. I can't get it. When you're shopping for apples, make sure you don't get one that's too big for your apple core. So, yeah, I'm gonna bring in the big, you're in your robe. I'm not introducing you in your robe. Just to put a little extra strength into this. All right, there you go. You just need to jump on it sometimes. So I like to take these and just set them right on the outside of the plate. And feel free to use, I'm using a Honeycrisp apple today, but if you wanted to combine a little bit of tanginess with the sweetness of the caramel, you could also use a Granny Smith apple or anything in between. So I generally just put apples around half, and then I'll do some crostini around the other half. But you can see how nice that looks. And if you wanted to keep your apples from getting brown, you can soak them after you cut them. Soak them real quick in a little bit of water with some lemon juice, and that should keep them from going brown for a while they're sitting out on your appetizer table. While I'm waiting for that bread to come out of the oven, I'm just going to go ahead and clear up my workspace, and we'll be back in just a bit. So good. I don't know why I only make this around the holidays. This is so good. We should have this at least once a month. All right, so I've got the bread out of the oven. It's nice and crisp. I am going to go ahead and set this aside for right now, let it cool off a little bit more while I slice my figs and prepare my prosciutto. That's just so pretty. Look at that. Yeah, just pretty. All right, so I've got my figs ready. And now I've got both Cooper and Trevor next to me, waiting for me to share. But guys, this is my favorite. I don't think I'm sharing. So good. Are figs pretty easy to get where you guys are from? Let me know. They're readily available here. I can't get them year round, which I wish I could. But they're so good right now. And I need to stop eating these or I'm not going to have any left for the appetizer. Last one. Okay, now I know I'm probably going to get some comments about what I'm about to do with the prosciutto, but you know what? To each their own. If you guys like this, leave it on. I personally cannot stand putting anything fatty into my mouth. I will not eat a ribeye. If I'm having a steak, it's got to be a filet, or I just won't eat a steak. I don't like fatty pieces of bacon. I can't. Having it in my mouth just kind of grosses me out. So I am going to cut that part off. I know the lady at the deli was this close to telling me I was crazy. She stopped herself. I'm being totally serious. But she was telling me how that's the best part, and I'm like, I understand for some people it is, but I don't like it, so I don't eat it. My husband likes it, so I'm going to leave some on for him, but my pieces, for sure, I'm cutting that part off. And again, I'm not going to do this with all of them, just mine, because I want to. And you can find the prosciutto, they should have some at your deli. I just had this cut at the deli, and I had them cut it in a 0.5 as far as the width goes. It's almost like a shave. It's just, I think, a little tiny bit sliced, a little bit thicker than a shave. But if they don't have it in your deli, then somewhere near the deli where they have the pre-packaged meats, not like the Oscar Mayer, that kind of thing, but like the, yes, thank you, honey. The Italian meats, you have your prosciutto, you have some, what is it, like salami and stuff like that in that area. Then you should find some there as well. I'm wondering if I give this to the dogs, if it'll make them sick. I don't know if I want to give it to them or not, because it's all fat. Just wash my hands real quick. All right, so let me go ahead and grab my bread. And you have a couple choices here, and I've done it both ways. Honestly, I don't think I have a preference. You could put the prosciutto down first, or you can put the mascarpone down first. The actual recipe, if you find it in my Pinterest board, it calls for burrata cheese, but the first time I made this, I could not find burrata cheese. I have since found it in my grocery store, but I used mascarpone cheese the first time, and I really liked it. And if you have not had mascarpone cheese, it's kind of like an Italian cream cheese. Whatever brand you prefer is fine. The one that I use is Belgioso, I think is how you say it. Marscapone. I'll put a close-up of that for you guys. But so I'm gonna go ahead and take, I'm gonna show you a couple different ways, okay? So I will take my cheese and spread it. Now make sure, if you're gonna, especially if you're gonna put the cheese down first, make sure that your crostini is completely cooled. You don't wanna put it on warm crostini because of course then it'll melt. So I'm gonna have my husband be the taste tester. Okay.
Yoo-hoo.
He'd be in the video if he ever decided to get dressed. You will unfortunately probably learn this about my husband, but he lives in a robe. If he is not leaving the house, he's in his robe. So, all right, I've got the cheese down. I'm gonna go ahead and do some prosciutto. And again, you can put, you know, just customize this, make it however you want. So for this next one, oh, you know what? I need to use your prosciutto, don't I? So just kind of fold it up. You use as little or as much as you like. This can really go a long way. I love pretty food. Totally believe it's true that you eat with your eyes first, so if I can make the food look pretty, in my mind, it just tastes better. Cooper, I'm not dropping any. Alright, so I think what I'm going to do is on half of them, I will put the cheese down first, and on the other half, I will put the prosciutto down first. Now the thing about putting the prosciutto down first and then the cheese is the cheese helps the fig have something to hold on to. So I'm just gonna spread all of these with cheese and I will be right back. All right, I've got cheese on all of them now, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put prosciutto on the ones that are getting the cheese down first. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. All right, so at this point, they all have meat and cheese. Again, I've got these with the prosciutto at the bottom and then the cheese, and then these have the cheese and then the prosciutto. Just trying to show you two different ways that you can prepare them so that you know what they look like at the end. And now I'm just gonna take one slice of fig and set it on top of each one. And then after that, we're gonna drizzle these with some agave nectar. Trev, give me 1 second and I will let you out, buddy. Looks like I ate one too many slices of the fig. I'm one short, so I'm just going to cut this one a little thinner. Y'all hear that sniffing? Let's try. All right, let's see. You want some fig? All right, so I'm going to try to get a close-up real quick so you can see what they look like now before I spread the agave nectar on them.
They look fantastic.
How do you know? All you can see is the inside of your eyelids. Mr. Snooze.
That hurts.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so here is a close-up. Again, the ones on the back closest to me have the prosciutto down first, and then the cream, the mascarpone, and then the fig. And then the ones away from me have the cheese first, the prosciutto, and then the fig. All right, so now the only thing left to do is take this agave nectar and just pour it. And again, you can just drizzle it on. You don't need a whole lot. Just drizzle it right on. Oh, this looks so good. I can't wait to eat one of these. Look at these. I am so excited to eat these. Okay, so you guys decide which one you prefer, but you've got here again the prosciutto on the bottom, followed by the cheese, and then the fig. And over here you've got the cheese on the bottom, followed by the prosciutto, and then the fig. And then again, the drizzle of agave nectar was the final touch. I'm going to enjoy these now so that they stop teasing me.